Hey YouTube, how's everybody doing so far this week? So it is a gorgeous day where I am, so I do have the windows wide open. So if you hear birds chirping in the background, traffic going by, that is why. Hopefully it doesn't impact the video too much, but yeah, it's just too nice to not have the windows open and let some air in the house. So I had debated on whether I wanted to film this video at all, but the reality is I don't want to sugarcoat anything. I don't want to sugarcoat the reality of mental health recovery, overcoming negative coping mechanisms, dealing with negative emotions, etc., because it is not easy, and sometimes you'll take one step forward and what feels like two steps back, and unfortunately that's just the reality of the situation. And I don't want to make it seem like, you decide to do something, you decide to take a step in the right direction and you just keep going in the right direction, because that's not how it always works. So on Friday, this past Friday, I had concert tickets and plans to go out with friends, and it was probably the first time in about a year that I've had plans to hang out with friends. I had not had the greatest day on Friday to begin with. I was just a little down, feeling quite emotional in regards to a few things. And I had been toying with the idea of just not going to this concert in the first place. But I love concerts, I love live music, and as anyone who frequents concerts knows, tickets are not cheap. So at the end of the day, I decided to go and try to enjoy myself. However, I was not sure whether I was going to drink or not. Now, I have been trying to eliminate alcohol from my life as a coping mechanism. Like, if I'm not feeling emotionally or mentally well, trying to not drink as a method of dealing with it. But I had never in my life been to a concert and not drank. It's not to say that you have to drink at a concert, but there's just so much alcohol flowing at concerts that it's sort of like going to a bar and not drinking. I mean, you can go to a bar and not drink, just like you can go to a concert and not drink, but I personally have not been in that situation. Up until recently, I have not been in a situation, particularly at a concert, where I have felt the need to make a conscious choice to not drink. So it hasn't ever been something that I worried about. But this time I was worried about it because, again, I had been trying to make the conscious effort to not drink to cope with my emotions, that I really didn't know what I was going to do at this concert. At the end of the day, when I went, I decided, you know what, I am not drinking to cope with something, but rather I am drinking socially. So I thought it was fine if I had a couple of drinks, and I did have a couple of drinks. Now, I didn't overdo it by any means, but the problem is that the feelings and the emotions that I was grappling with earlier in the day were just intensified and exacerbated by the alcohol that I did have. Now, that in and itself probably wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but unfortunately, when I got home, I found myself kind of reverting to old patterns and old habits by reacting to those intensified feelings and emotions. So, what I mean by this is, in the past, when I would drink to cope with certain feelings, after a certain point, it wasn't unusual for me to react and lash out to the person that I was feeling these emotions to. So, for example, if I was angry with a friend, I would have a couple of drinks, and then it wouldn't faze me at all to reach out to this person and just kind of explode all over them. Because at this point, the alcohol was clouding my judgment and preventing me from thinking about things that I was saying before I said them. And basically, my emotions controlled everything, including what I said. And that's basically what happened the other night. The person that I was, even though I did not drink for the sake of coping, the person that I was feeling these emotions toward on Friday, I, for lack of a better word, lashed out to them when I got home on Friday night. Now, granted, it was not as bad as it would have been in the past, possibly because I wasn't drinking for the sake of coping with these emotions, possibly because I hadn't had a lot to drink. But the reality is, I did lash out in a way that I wouldn't have had I not been drinking. So that has made me realize that not only does alcohol need to stay out of my life as a coping mechanism, for me personally, it is not safe to include in my life under any circumstances, particularly and especially when I am having an emotional day. It might be okay if I'm not feeling any negative or hurtful emotions towards anything, but I can't guarantee that. You know, the next time a situation comes around where I might feel tempted to drink, I don't know how I'm going to be feeling that day. I could be feeling fine. I could be feeling emotional towards another situation, and what happens then. So I don't want to go so far as to say that I failed. One, because it's not me. It's, at the end of the day, it's the alcohol. Alcohol is a poison. It's addictive. It's got more control over a person than a person has over it for the most part. So I'm not going to sit here and blame myself and say that it's my fault. And I personally don't think that that does any good anyways. I already feel like I have enough to blame on myself without bringing alcohol into the mix and blaming myself for choosing to do something that at the time I didn't know was going to end the way it ended. But I also don't think that I failed because I learned something out of this. I learned that for me, I can't drink. It's not going to end well. It will never end well. It never has ended well. And I don't see a situation in the future where it will end well. If I am feeling emotional towards anything or about anything or anyone, that's just going to exacerbate and intensify whatever I'm feeling. And the likelihood is pretty dang good that I'm going to react if I have alcohol in my system. Whereas if I do not have alcohol in my system, I am much more capable of making the decision to not react, or if I do, it will be done in a way that does not intentionally or unintentionally hurt the other person. So did I fail? In the sense that I drank alcohol after I had made a choice not to, yeah, I guess maybe I did. But in the sense that I learned something about myself that I can carry with me going forward, no, I didn't fail. So yeah, I wanted to share that because, like I said, I don't want to sugarcoat things. And it's not as easy, particularly when you're dealing with a mental health issue, that you use substances to cope with, to say, you know what, I'm not going to do this substance anymore. I'm not going to use this coping mechanism anymore. I'm going to do other things. It is not that easy to give it up. Hopefully in the future, I can make better choices, and I will make better choices. And this won't happen again now that I know what happens. But yeah, it is what it is. I did make a conscious choice, didn't end well, and hopefully the next time I can make a better choice and not do what I did. So yeah, that's kind of all I had to share today. If you like this video, if you want to see more videos, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Please leave a comment below. Introduce yourself, say hi, share your stories, recommend future videos, ask me any questions, you know the drill. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video, even though it was a little bit all over the place, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.